Cheers!
Cheers!
Happy Christmas, everybody. So we thought we'd spend a little bit of time, given the fact that we're winding down towards the Christmas extravaganza. It is the 21st of December today, so we've only got a few days. I've just finished doing the Patreon Christmas performance, which was good fun, and we thought we'd answer a few questions whilst we have the camera and everything set up. So these are questions that were asked for on the Thursday night cheese and port Dave and Tobe Christmas extravaganza party. We didn't get a chance to answer, so fire away. Question massacre.
If there was Mark Goodwin asks, if there was a film made about you, who would you like to play you?
Brian Blessed. I don't know. I mean, who's ever going to make a film about me? Probably nobody. But I don't know really. It's a funny one. I don't know how to answer that. It'd have to be somebody loud and hopefully more attractive. That tends to be the thing, isn't it? You often sort of go, especially when there's people you don't know who it is, particularly, and you go, oh, I wonder who they were, and they're like I don't know, inventor or something, and they make a film about them, you know, and you go and check out on Wikipedia, and you know realise that a nose like that, and an eye in the middle of the forehead and all that, but they've got someone like Brad Pitt playing them. So that's kind of where I'd need to be. I'd need to have like sort of whoever the Brad Pitt of the period was playing me.
Rebecca Jones asks, what's been your favourite Wayward Sons moment to date?
Oh, without a doubt, I would say playing Downloading the Tent.
I think you've been asked that before.
That was an extraordinary experience. Yeah, it really was incredible. And you know, we didn't anticipate the amount of people that would turn up and the energy that was in the tent just before we went on. I think Mike Gray went on before us with this great band, and they had a really fantastic audience for them. But by the time we went on, you literally couldn't get anyone in the tent. It was 10 deep. It was ridiculous. It almost formed a cloud in the tent top because it was so hot that day. Never felt anything like that. It was amongst top 3 of my favourite live things I've ever done. That brilliant.
Keith Steen asks, mince pies or Christmas pud?
Oh goodness me! Now you're talking about 2 of my favourite food types. Oh goodness me, that is so difficult. I think it'll push probably Christmas pud, but I do like. I know this is a bit weird, but I do like a stale mince pie. I like a mince pie, not when it's come out of the oven. I like it when it's gone off after a few days. It's been in a Tupperware and the top hasn't been sealed properly. So it's a bit hard. It's a bit hard. I do. I love it like that anyway. So I do.
Well, you
yeah.
keep threatening to make a Christmas.
I'm making a Christmas pud this week. I'm going to get me stuff tomorrow.
Oh.
Yeah. Wednesday actually. I'm going to get it.
You're supposed to make them weeks in advance.
No, you don't have to. Nah, my mum always said that's not true. You can if you're going to feed it, but I don't like the alcohol in it anyway.
Watch this space.
Let me do it.
Andrew Spud Hawley says, if you could live in a movie location, which movie would it be?
That is a brilliant question. Oh, goodness me. Oh, there's so many. So many. What
springs to mind?
Probably Middle Earth, but it'd have to be in the Shire, but I'm not a hobbit, so I'd have to be Gandalf's mate. I'd have to be another wizard that visited the Shire, because it's so fantastic there. I'd love that. There's just so many.
Okay. Scott Fort asks, the ghost of Christmas past shows up at your door and says he's going to take you back to your best Christmas ever. Where and when is he taking you to?
Wow. Probably when Tabitha was born.
That year.
Yeah. When our eldest was born, because she was born on the 18th of December. And yeah, we had to bring her home, and remember we put her down to in a little carry, you know, the carry cot thing they give you. They show you, you know, it's amazing at the hospital. They show you how to bathe your little baby, and it's all fantastic. And there's all these people running around after you. Then they just plop her down in the car seat thing. We take her home, and I can remember we took her into the house, put her down in the middle of the living room, and both just sort of looked at her and went, "What do we do? What do we do now?" And I seem to remember I spent, because it was then, you know, only a few days before Christmas, and I seem to remember we spent, because you were spending a lot of time sleeping and then feeding, and then I was sort of looking after her, and I remember lying on my chest, and I was just watching endless telly. It was absolutely amazing, and she was just asleep all the time. She was a great kid, actually, at that particular point.
Most babies do sleep a lot.
Well, I know, but it was pretty...
2 weeks.
So that is a real big memory. I mean, lots of childhood ones, of course, you know, with mum and dad and all the rest of it, but that one stands out.
Yeah. John Elliott asks, what was your favourite Christmas present you remember getting as a child?
That's a really good one. Probably a couple. I remember getting a Hornby steam engine that was only, I've still got it in there. It's a tiny little thing, but it's made of metal, and it was a working model. So you got these little cubes of, I don't know what it was, some kind of fuel. I think it must have been paraffin cubes that you used to put into this little tray, and you used to light them and then put water in the engine, this little engine's sort of boiler, and it used to literally make a flywheel turn. And you could attach a little band, a little sort of, I don't know what it was, a rubber band or something, onto Meccano. And so my dad bought me this, and he bought me a Meccano set, which was a crane. And so we could attach this little engine to this crane, and we could raise up the crane's cable, you know. So that really stands out. Yeah, I'm gonna go for that.
Rachel Ahmed, sorry if I said it wrong. What's your favourite Christmas decoration?
Oh, I've got so many. I am an absolutely unrelenting Christmas fan, aren't I? I look forward. I plan it. I plan the Christmas decorations. I have quite a lot of sort of traditional Christmas decoration plans, don't I? They're usually quite similar. But I do like a massive tree, even though we don't have a huge room. We do get as big a tree as I possibly can. It's usually bent at the top, on the roof and stuff like that. But although this year we've been quite modest, we've got a big tree, but it's quite thin at the bottom. Normally it's so big you can't get in the room. And I do like, I like lights. I've always loved the atmosphere. I love the atmosphere of lights, and we've got a fake tree in the kitchen here, which is just over there, but we do have a proper tree in the front room. So I love lights. So I any kind of lights. Yeah.
Actually, we could turn that a little bit because it's. I know we better not.
Worry about
you
it.
can't see the tree.
Doesn't matter. See your jumper.
Caroline Griffiths asked if you could change one decision you made, what would it be?
Goodness me. Probably to not give in to the pressure of splitting up the Little Angels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And being influenced by
influenced by people that didn't really care about the band, frankly.
Michaela Greasley asks, do you have a Christmas Day tradition, and if so, what is it?
Yes, we have a few. I mean, the one that everyone always balks about, but anyone in Lincolnshire will understand this, is having, well, actually I'm a vegetarian now, so this doesn't apply, but although we have a vegetarian pie. But when we were children, it was, and I got so used to it that when I met Kat, and Kat's from Bristol, obviously we live down in the southwest now, but the tradition was to have a family-sized pork pie and eat that for breakfast on Christmas morning with pickle. And this was something that we all look forward to, and I still do look forward to, although now we have a goat's cheese, even though that's not strictly vegetarian, really, is it?
It's vegetarian.
But it kind of is, but it's not vegan.
vegan.
But we're on the, I'm borderline vegan, really. I don't eat a lot of dairy, but I do eat a bit of cheese. But anyway, so it's not probably.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we have a sweet potato and goat's cheese pie now. But yeah, it was a thing, and like I've mentioned it to loads of people, they all go, "Oh, that's disgusting! How can you possibly do that?" But it wasn't. It was a crusty roll, real butter. It was peasant, in fact, peasant food, but it was kind of, yeah, a Lincolnshire tradition, and we've carried that on. Yeah.
Okay. Andrew Purden asks, if you could have 4 people around the dinner table, who would it be?
Oh, that's a really good one.
I love questions like this.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this. Can I answer?
You can answer it.
I would have
I would answer mine as well.
Louis Theroux.
Yeah,
Miriam Margolyes.
Good one.
If you haven't listened to their podcast, give it a listen. It's absolutely hilarious.
And rude.
Very rude.
Very rude, but very, very brilliant.
Anyway, I'd only want those 2, and then us 2.
Okay,
Who
that's
would you
fair.
have?
Well, it would be, if it can be anyone alive or dead, I would definitely have Freddie Mercury and David Bowie. They would absolutely be there. Steven Spielberg, without a doubt. And probably Stephen King. But again, it would go wider than that for me. I don't know. I'd love Einstein. I think I'd love to sort of, because I've read quite a lot about Einstein and what a fantastic fun he was, and amongst his brilliance, he was a real prankster and loved frivolity. So yeah, but I think all my heroes really.
Alison Davison asks, on top of the tree, a little angel, a star, or something else?
Oh, it's an angel, isn't it?
Mm.
One that the kids made. I don't know if that one is actually we've got now, is it? No, but we always used to have, the kids used to make an angel, and even though I'm not a believer in any way, shape or form of any form of religion, it seems like a fitting, more than a star actually. I don't know, there's something quite sweet about, very sweet about the kids making a crepe paper angel, so we've always had those.
Jeff Gibson, have you been naughty or nice, and what's Santa bringing you?
I've no idea what Santa's bringing me. I'm always nice.
Shall we tell the PNP story?
The what?
The PNP Santa story.
What's that?
The video that we were talking about the other day.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The Santa video.
Oh, you can tell that story if you want. I don't believe this is a lie.
I don't know if any of you do the PNP Santa videos. You can get them made for your family. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google PNP Santa. And yeah, so I went through a phase for several years when I got everyone a Santa video.
You just have to sit down on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, it's another tradition.
Yeah.
And you have the option to say, has this person been naughty or good? And I said one year that you'd been naughty. You got really offended.
Quite rightly so.
It was a joke. But you still
Never forgiven you.
still
Anyway,
got your present.
move on.
Phil Groves, what has been your greatest pinch yourself live moment? That out of body, am I really here moment?
Oh, how many have you got? I mean, how much time have we got to talk about that? I mean, Hammersmith, the first time when the crowd sung Approach the Working Class Back at Me, and the band stopped playing, and the whole place just wouldn't stop singing. It was unbelievable. Same at Hammersmith, Roger Daltrey playing on stage with Roger Daltrey, playing on stage at Wembley Stadium with Bryan Adams, and the rapturous reception we got from that. Playing Milton Keynes Bowl with ZZ Top and Bon Jovi, extraordinary. First time we headlined the Marquee Club. It was so hot in there. I think it was a July. We played it. The place was utterly packed, and there was faces I remember specifically there were faces in the audience of all these journalists that I kind of had known the name of and got to know in a very short space of time that had come. So the whole place was filled with all the Kerrang journalists and all these people that meant something at the time. So there was Malcolm Dome there, and Dave Ling, all these people, and they all were there to watch us. And that was a turning point, really. So I think actually, in many ways, the Marquee Club is probably one of the key moment, really, in lots of ways.
Dave Simmons, Lindell. Other than cheese and pork, what are you leaving out for Santa?
Well, Santa's a fine chap of extraordinary taste. So I would probably say a fine bottled Mexican beer, just in case he didn't want the port. He might just think, well, I've had a little bit too much of the heavy stuff, so I'll just go for a nice Sol or something, like a fresh Sol. I used to love Rolling Rock, actually, but I don't think you can get Rolling Rock anymore, can you? That was made with spring water. Something like that. And probably a slice of the vegan pie that we're having.
He's not having that.
Well, no, maybe I'll just... Maybe,
well, yes, you just leave half a carrot. Oh, that's for the reindeer.
But when your back's turned, as you've gone to bed, because you always go to bed earlier than me, and I like to stay up on Christmas Eve and watch the late movie, I'll probably take a thin slice of the goat's cheese and sweet potato pie and leave that for him. And I know he'd leave me a note and say, awesome.
Yeah, okay. Paul Hayes, if you were to form a supergroup, what musicians would you want for your band?
Oh, goodness me. How the hell do you go on with that one? Eddie Van Halen on guitar. And probably Brian May on guitar as well. And then I'd probably Neil Murray on bass guitar. Dave Grohl on drums. And probably Dave Kemp on keyboards, because there's nobody better.
Sarah Hullen says, looking forward to you getting back out on the road next year. Now that you've got 3 albums, do you ever worry that you'll forget some lyrics?
I forget them all the time. One thing I've realised about getting older is that it's very hard to retain things in the short term. I can remember every single word from the Little Angels period. I can remember all the words from my solo stuff. I can remember most of the words from Ghosty Yet to Come, but I struggled quite badly actually on the truth thing, what it used to be. I think I'd put that down to the fact we didn't do enough shows really. And by the time that we went out with Steel Panther and did that big European tour with them, I did get to grips with them, but I do forget them. And I've had some amazing moments where I've forgotten the, like, Don't Pray For Me or something. I remember one particular gig we did with Marillion, and I went out there all cocksure that I was going to blow everybody away, and we were playing this venue. I seem to remember I think it was Leicester de Montfort Hall, actually. And I started playing Don't Pray For Me, and the whole place went really, really quiet, and it was really full, and I completely forgot the words. And somebody laughed in the audience. It was awful. But anyway, I never forgot them since.
Wayne Page, ever any chance of any Little Angels members making a guest appearance or getting on stage at a Wayward Sons gig or playing on your solo album next year?
Oh yeah, no, why not? I mean, we're all great mates, and the way that everyone sort of views it now is it's not what you think it is. You know, they're all, like Bruce and Jim, they're both teachers now, so they don't get much opportunity to play. I mean, Bruce is obviously, he had the Colour of Noise, and he tried with that band and had some good success with that, and had a, you know, I think he sort of scratched an itch with that really. But he's back being a teacher now and running a really successful college. So, but we talk all the time, and he's you know, he still wants to play and still does bits and pieces. I can quite imagine that happening. Don't quite know what circumstances, but we'll see.
But the last part was or playing on your solo album next
That's
year.
That's very possible. I mean, I am making a solo album, starting to work on a solo album for next year, recording, and I've already asked Mark Richardson if he'll get involved a little bit, so that's a little bit of a coup for this. And me and Mark are talking about that, so I'm hoping Mark will play on the record. But I want to try and. It's quite an extraordinary thing making a record, and you have to make sure that the people that are involved understand your vision, and especially with a solo record. So it'll depend on whether Bruce gets the song and likes it and that sort of thing. And I wouldn't want him just to do it just for the sake of it.
Lorna Weston, appropriate for the evening, meaning last Thursday. What cheeses make the best cheese board selection, and what crackers?
Wow. Oh my goodness. Well, I am a sucker for a cream cracker. I know it's boring, but I used to have this thing. I mean, this is actually to do with touring, really. I used to get back late nights after we'd maybe gone to Newcastle when we were Little Angels and we were still living at home, and we lived in this little village not far from Pickering on near Scarborough. And I used to get dropped off first because all the rest of the guys used to live in Scarborough and beyond. And so I used to get dropped off first. So say we were getting back at 2 a.m. from playing Middlesbrough or something. My house usually was completely silent. But at that particular time, there was quite a lot of music programs on late night. I don't know if you remember, there was there was one called The Graveyard, something or other, and I can't remember now. But anyway, so I used to go and get like a whole wadge of cream crackers. And I love a cream cracker with nothing on them. I like a dry cream cracker. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I do. So one of my sort of like joys was to get back, have a shower, go downstairs, might even be 2 a.m, and watch something on TV, eating some cream crackers. In terms of cheese, my absolute favourite cheese, I like a strong cheddar, a really strong cheddar, about a finely made one. I like the artisan cheddars, for instance, a lot down here in Southwest. But I love a blue cheese. I love a Stilton. I love a Stilton. Not that keen. I do like them, but not that keen on Breeze. I like a Camembert, but I do like it to be. I like a Camembert when it's cooked in the oven, and you have it with like caramelized marmalade or whatever it is, you know, that sort of thing. But in general, I mean, I gave up cheese in the summer, didn't I, for when I was trying to lose some weight and I was doing my running, and but the call of the cheese.
You seem to think
call of the fromage.
Shortage. You keep saying there's a shortage of Stilton.
There is. I got really worried. It was actually on the national news.
Well, I keep seeing it everywhere.
I know, but it was on the national news.
Okay.
It said there was a shortage of Stilton, so I panicked and bought 400 weight.
Right. Lee Bourne asks, if you had the opportunity to invent a new Christmas tradition that would be carried on every year until the end of time, but you had to abolish a current existing Christmas tradition, which currently existing tradition would you abolish? Right. And what would be your new tradition?
Right, well, as most people who know me knows that I'm an atheist. I don't have any interest in religion, but I fully, and I know that sounds like a complete contradiction that I'm a lover of Christmas, but you've got to understand that Christmas, by and large, the traditions of Christmas were co-opted 300, 400 years ago, largely by Constantine III, I think it was, who wanted to galvanise all of the world religions and essentially create a situation where we had a festival to celebrate Christianity. Now, I don't believe in that, but I do believe that the Samhain Festival and the Yule Festival, which is actually today on the 23rd of December, which is a celebration of the end of the winter equinox and the shortest day. All of those traditions, the Yule log, not so much the Christmas tree, that was a German thing, but it's tied into paganism. But the celebration of all things natural, it's as important to me, more important to me than anything to do with religion. And so I would like to promote the celebration of nature, and I would enhance the celebration of nature gently. I think it would be something to celebrate the fact that we see the seasons turn. These are natural things. It doesn't have to be governed by an organised religion, and that's my right. And so I would celebrate that. I would bring in a tradition where we use the winter, we use all the imagery of Christmas, which has largely been robbed anyway, to further celebrate that. And I would probably ban church.
Controversial.
Don't care.
Julie Warden asks, Baileys or Snowball?
What is a snowball?
It's Africa. Which
Oh,
is
no.
like egg and...
Well, I've been having this debate recently about, we had that question, didn't we, on Thursday, who invented eggnog? And we were in the studio a couple of weeks ago making the Wayward Sons record, and I said, what is eggnog? And everyone's, because I thought it was something that you did you created on the stove. Yeah. I thought it was warm. Apparently not. And whether there's any egg in it, there's egg in eggnog in avocado, isn't there? So I was a bit confused about what eggnog was, but so no, not that. I think it'd have to be Baileys. I'm not a big fan of those kind of creamy, sickly drinks, to be honest. But probably at a push, Baileys.
The rest of us drink it before you do.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Jules Emborg asks, if you could invite one musician from the past or present to join you for Christmas dinner, who would you choose and what cheese would you serve them with a slice of Christmas cake? We've kind of already answered.
We have, but if it's only one person, that's different, isn't it? Because you could have a collection of really amazing people like David Bowie and Freddie, and you could regale us all with their tales of rock and roll, and it would be wonderful, and we get beneath the skin of all these incredible people. But if it was one person, goodness me, I actually think I would love to probably have Stephen King, actually, if it was one person. Because I think Stephen King, he fascinates me as a character. What an incredible imagination and a wonderful, wonderful guy. I would have Stephen King at my table, and I will probably serve him a Stilton, because I don't know whether Americans really appreciate a fine blue Stilton. And we've got some of the greatest Stilton and some of the greatest cheese in the southwest of England. Simple as that. Simple as that.
Alan Jefferson Mackney asks, what input do you have in the Christmas meal, not including singing a song?
Absolutely none, because I am useless. I could burn water. So I just appreciate the effort that Ket puts in, and
but you do all the prep, don't you?
I do help, and I love a sprout. One of my Christmas traditions, which came from my mum, is that I can always remember watching TV as a little boy, like from say maybe the age of 11, 12, when I could be trusted, if you like, with the vegetables, which sounds a bit random, but it's true. I can remember my mum specifically coming in, and I was watching TV and putting down a big Tupperware container full of sprouts that needed peeling, and it was really fantastic. I can't tell you how much that meant to me, because it meant that I was included in doing that. Mum wanted me to do it, and I peeled and I've always liked to peel sprouts. I know it's random, but so I do a bit of that. And I am going to make a Christmas pud. I am definitely, even though Better Half thinks I'm not going to, I am going to make a Christmas pudding, because I love Christmas pudding. And I have made them before, haven't I? Come on. I've made many Christmas...
But didn't it melt into...
Well, that was the only one you remember, but I've made some fun... I did make one. Yeah.
The plastic bowl melted.
It was awful.
Into the pudding,
and then
steaming.
Oh, it was awful. And then we had to eat a pudding that tasted of plastic. But I have made lots of puddings before, and you're choosing to forget the fact. But I've made many puddings before. And my mum's got a brilliant recipe. God rest her soul. Well, not God, but rest her soul. Not in the soul, but God, whatever. And she did have a brilliant recipe for a Christmas pud that I adore, and I'm going to try and make it this year. So.
But you'd use all the washing up as well.
Do all the washing up, and I do set. Now, come
So
on,
when
my
you dust the
table
table,
designs.
just the table.
I do go to town on the table design, don't I?
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah.
It is pretty spectacular, isn't it?
Yeah. You just don't cook, basically.
I don't cook.
Right. Where are we? Stephen Hope. With the light at the end of the tunnel, how does embarking on a tour next year make you feel? How will it feel just before you go on stage for the first time? Will you have nerves, excitement? Nerves and
Right, okay, it's a two-parter. I am nervous about the tour, but for all the right reasons. We have gone into bigger venues, but we've had a year without music. That could go two ways. That could be people still very nervous about wanting to buy a ticket, and we might not sell loads of tickets up front. I don't know. It might be that we have a huge walk up because people decide on the last moment to come along. It might be that people just go, oh my God, I can't believe it. There's a tour, we go into it no matter what. It might be that that Tuesday night gig that we normally put on, that tends to be not very well attended, because people have been starved of gigs, might think to themselves, well, that Tuesday night, I don't care what happens, I'm going to go and do it anyway. It might really benefit us. It might have a counter effect. I don't know. But one thing is for certain, we have to do it. We haven't toured as a headlining act for 2 years. And by the time this album comes out and we've gone through the festivals, hopefully, and everyone's heard the music and we've achieved what we've achieved in the year, it will be an enormous experience. And like I said, we've gone into bigger venues. How will I feel when I go on stage? I have an automatic pilot. I'll tell you a tiny little tale really quickly. When I gave up music for a little while, when we were having children, we were living up in Scarborough, and I didn't play live for about 3 years, I was really nervous to go on stage again. But I needn't have worried, because the weird thing is the moment we did all the rehearsals, the moment I stepped foot on that stage in Scarborough, I played the first show ever in Scarborough, and after being from the Little Angels, and it all came back like that. And I treat the stage like a second home. I can't help it. I've done it all my life since I was about 16 years old, 16, 17 years old. And it's a muscle memory, an emotional muscle memory. So I'm hoping that everything will work out how we expect it to, and there'll be packed houses, and we'll be playing songs off all of the 3 albums, and it'll be a triumph. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Everything crossed for all bands to tour next year.
Exactly,
you know?
exactly.
I'm missing going to gigs.
Oh, I know.
It's just rotten.
So, but hopefully it'll be a massive flush of, oh my God, we've got to go, we've got to support the industry. That's what we need.
Hopefully by November. Should be
Let's hope so. Who knows, but let's hope so.
Right, the last one, and it's a bit of a daft one, but Blade Tranter
Oh, Blade.
asks, will you miss no Knickers being thrown at you tonight, as in Thursday night at the Cheese and Pork?
Who threw Knickers at me before?
I know. I was thinking, have you ever had that
Wow.
before?
I don't know what to say about that, really.
You don't need to answer it.
No,
Just a bit of fun.
but listen, I miss playing live, and I miss playing the 2 acoustic shows that we normally play in Bristol, and then do a couple of shows up and down the country. They're always a highlight. Me and Dave have such good fun with that, and it's always, you know, we're always having a drink with that and enjoying ourselves. So we do miss it, you know. But hopefully Thursday night last week was enough to sort of sate the appetite until hopefully next year.
Well, that's it. That's your lot.
Brilliant. Well, listen, have a great Christmas. Thank you so much for being with us. Cheers. Through the summer with the lockdown shows, and amazing the gig on Thursday. I had such good fun, even though it was massively traumatic technically, wasn't it? But I'm signing off now. I've got maybe 2 days worth of work to just finish off, but I'm signing off, and I will see you in the new year. Have a great one.
2021.
Be positive, because even though this Christmas is difficult, you can choose to be happy about it. Take care of yourselves. Thank you.